So let's talk about where we are now. I mean, there has been really a terrifying spike in new cases, hospitalizations, deaths. As you look at this and the spread of this thing, where are we in the cycle?
Well, data speaks for itself. We are in a very, very difficult situation. It's quite problematic. I have said that publicly many times, not to scare people, but to bring a reality check to where we are. If you look at it, we have 10 million infections in the United States, almost 250,000 deaths. We've had 60,000 hospitalizations, and now, last count, we had 143,000 infections in a single day. When I testified before the Congress 4 months ago, I said if we did not get control of this, that we could reach 100,000 infections a day, and people thought I was being hyperbolic. And now look what's happening. That's the bad news.
COVID-19, the coronavirus responsible for the largest global pandemic in recent history, is showing no signs of slowing down. From the global economic recession to the millions of deaths worldwide, the virus has no doubt affected our lives greatly. Regardless of your political stance, it should be obvious that initial efforts to contain the virus have failed, and now our only recourse is to create and distribute an effective vaccine to prevent further deaths. Some believe that an effective, widely available vaccine is right around the corner.
And you have said a vaccine is coming soon, within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular, that's the head of logistics. And this is a very easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine. And we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
We're
While
going to end
others
this
are
by
much less
the summer.
optimistic.
We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
The actual progress on a coronavirus vaccine lies somewhere in between those two perspectives. While Trump's claim was clearly hyperbolic, our future may not be as bleak as Biden made it seem.
Driven by the financial and social incentives, many drug companies accelerated their vaccine development process. With an ingenious design using mRNA and rapid testing, Pfizer and Moderna were able to make vaccines available in under a year, a process that would normally take decades.
Pharmaceutical giant Pfizer just announced moments ago that its coronavirus vaccine is 95% effective and that they will apply for FDA emergency use approval within days. It comes just as the U.S. recorded the deadliest day of the pandemic in 6 months.
In addition to manufacturing, vaccine distribution has also been accelerated due to a variety of factors, most notably a government initiative that started back in May of this year.
And what do you call this effort? This worldwide effort led by the United States of America to develop a vaccine. What is the term for it?
Operation Warp Speed, sir.
Have you ever seen anything like Operation Warp Speed?
It's unprecedented.
By the end of December, we expect to have about 40 million doses of these two vaccines available for distribution, pending FDA authorization. Enough to vaccinate about 20 million of our most vulnerable Americans.
However, there are still many issues we need to address before we can achieve a COVID-free world.
We have already experienced some complications. First, some research has shown that the vaccine is not as effective for Asians as it is for whites. Additionally, the government has failed to back up their promises that there will be millions of doses of vaccines available by now. Due to it being mRNA-based, distribution has been slowed down because it needs to be stored at sub-zero temperatures.
And even if someone were to get vaccinated, they would still need to wear a mask.
I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine, because the immunogenicity may be 70%. And if I don't get an immune response, the vaccine's not going to protect me. This face mask will.
The bottom line is this: even with the vaccine out there, Joe Biden still has a lot on his plate. He already has to answer some big questions. For example, how will the government support vaccine production? Who will be required to take the vaccine? How will we cope with anti-vaxxers that refuse to take the vaccine? More importantly, what if new research shows that the vaccine is ineffective? What if the virus mutates into another strand that renders the vaccine useless? How will we prepare for all these possible scenarios? These questions must be answered now, proactively. We cannot wait like the last administration did. The situation is getting out of hand, and our new government must act fast. It is their responsibility to promote the general welfare by protecting the health of its citizens. It is our President's job as our Chief Administrator and our Congress's job as our legislative body to address the researching, funding, and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. The more prepared we are, the more likely we can finally put an end to this pandemic.